Hey guys, Chris here. You joined me here in the 2019 Audi A6, and in today's video, I'm going to give you guys a tour of the virtual cockpit, digital gauge cluster, and the MMi Touch Infotainment System. Since it's minus 13 degrees outside, guys, I'm going to let the engine run, so I do apologize if it's a bit noisy. But here we have the 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster, which Audi call virtual cockpit. In my opinion, this is the best digital gauge cluster in the business. So you can control it via the buttons here on the left side of the control, or left side of the steering wheel. View lets you increase the map view or decrease the map view, or increase the gauges view and decrease the gauges view, depends on how you want to look at it. But it's really cool that you have that option readily available via a button here. And you can also scroll different functions. So if we go to here to our trip computer, our board computer, we can scroll different functions with the scroll wheel. So we can get different functions here, up and down, which is very nice and very simple. This is in Norwegian, so here you have your clock, you have your consumption, you have your long-term or short-term memory consumption and trip computer, long-term memory consumption and trip computer, and then you have, well, how much fuel you're using just to heat up the car, and then your driver aids there. And you can also, you have an OK button here, and then this is how you toggle between the different types of modes. So here you have your smartphone, and then you have what you have here. This is your smartphone, and this is your media, and then you have your map view there. So very simple and very easy to use. And just quickly, on this side of the steering wheel, you have your phone, your voice commands, a programmable button, and then you also have your media button, so volume up and down, and skip your tracks forwards and backwards. But just quickly, let's see what this looks like. So on the left side of the screen, you have your water temperature. On the right side, you have your fuel gauge, and then you have your speedometer down to there to the left, or your tachometer, and then your speedometer down there to the right. You have your range up there to the left, and then you have your media up there in the middle, so your song playing will show there, and then you have your phone to the right of that, and then you have your navigation to the right of that. You will also get navigation prompts on top of this gauge while navigated to an address. You have your adaptive lane keep assist down there to the right, your driver aids, and then you have speed limit at the side, and then your outside temperature and your clock down there. And then if you make this larger, you basically have the same things, just a larger readout. I hope you don't have too much glare here, but it is really hard because these screens are very shiny. So up top we have our media screen, which is a 12.1-inch widescreen, and then on the bottom we have our climate control screen, which is 8.6 inches. And it's really nice that they keep this separated, but there's also some overlapping, some integration. So just quickly, if we adjust our temperature, we will get that up here. So you'll see that it takes up some real estate, which in my opinion is a bit redundant. Why would you need even more real estate dedicated to showing the temperature? But that becomes more apparent if you want to sync the temperatures. So if I go ahead and adjust this temperature, you'll get only this temperature, and then you want to sync them, you'll get that up here. So you sync, and then you close that. A bit strange that you don't have your own sync button down there, but that's the way they have done it. So if you go home here, you have your radio, media, telephone, navigation, phone apps, car, your settings, help, and then you have users, news, and twice news, and then weather. So this is in Norwegian. I do apologize. I'm going to try to read this out for you guys. So radio is really simple. You just scroll your radio stations here, and then you select. You can also choose your different radio source here. So DAB or FM or AM. And then go back home, you have your media. So you can connect your iPhone via Android, via Apple CarPlay, or you can do Android Auto. Here we are connected via Bluetooth, but I can also connect it via Apple CarPlay, which will give you lossless audio, which is really nicely recommended. I'm just going to show you guys quickly, just going to connect my phone here and then show you guys the Spotify app here. So let's go to Apple CarPlay. And then let's see if we can go back home, and then Apple CarPlay, we are connected. So you have your phone, messages, YouTube or media player, MMi, and then your Google Maps, which is really cool. Because you can also get Google Maps built into the navigation system here, which works integrated with the virtual cockpit. This will only work down here on this screen and not up there on the virtual cockpit. But it's a really cool thing if you want that. And then you also have your Spotify app, which is also works really nicely, works better than in my Volvo XC90. You have your playlists here. You can just easily scroll and then select a song. I'm not going to select anything because then we'll get a copyright infringe or a strike on the channel. So that's what that looks like. It's recommended to use Spotify or to use the cable here, because then you will get lossless music transfer from your phone and then to the infotainment system here. So back home, you have phone, you have navigation, phone apps, car are just settings. And this is a bit annoying. So I'm now connected to, okay, that went away quickly, but earlier that message just kept hanging there for a long time. So phone apps, car, let's go to navigation. So this is just very easy. If you want to enter an address, you do it like that. You just enter, and then you write down here on the pad. So I want to go O S L O, Oslo, and then just navigate to Oslo, start, and then it's very simple like that. And then here on the left side you get your navigation prompts, and then on the right side you get your information, how far it is, the arrival time, also if you have traffic TMC turned on, your height, and also the scale of your map. And then you just pinch to zoom, and then if you move this like that, you press there to center the map again. Very easy, very simple to use. It's everything just very self-explanatory and very intuitive in this infotainment system. You can go to car, and then you can go to your adaptive or your Audi drive select. You can adjust your seats, your climate control. I don't think we have anything. You don't have a lot of functions there because this car doesn't have too many options. Your driver aids, your settings there, maximal, individual, or basic. You don't have any more settings here. And then you have your more settings here. So you can adjust, the brightness of the screen. You want to make that brighter or more dark. You can also adjust here. So here you can go for a haptic feedback, which is the default setting. But that means you have to really press the screen hard to. So if I go back again, I can't just touch or tap. I have to press hard. I find that very annoying, so I turn that off. So now you just only tap. Look at that. You just tap. You don't have to press. So that's a nice function to be aware about. Just more functions in here. You can also connect your devices. You can connect your phone. You can tether data from your phone, or you can have a SIM card installed and tether data from there. And then you can also share your as a hotspot, which is very practical. You can also change the language here, and let's go ahead and just do that because to make it easier for you guys. So let's go just English UK, use, apply, and then now we're back to English, and that's what it looks like. So everything's just basically the same: phone apps, car settings, messages, and then news, weather, user. Go back to navigation. That's what that looks like. Everything looks the same. Search, and then you can also stop your navigation there. And then you have your media, down there, and then you have your phone, and then navigation. So it's really nice to have these shortcuts here on the left side. So I'm just going to show you guys quickly how you can integrate these functions to the screen down here. So here you have something called shortcuts, which is this middle button, and then it drops down like that. So if I want to go back to search, and then I want to use, I can, if I go back here, and I think if I use just long press this, yes, and then I can set as favorite, no, set as shortcut. Okay, so that's been stored. Close this, and then when I press here again, I have it as a shortcut here, and then now it will just automatically navigate there, which is very practical to have some shortcuts. And I think you can have 4 or 5 shortcuts down there, but it does take, you know, up a bit more real estate here, but it is very practical. So that's the only overlap in integration. Otherwise, then when you adjust the temperature here, you'll get it up there, and also the sync. So you have some overlap, but not much. We'll just stop the navigation here and then show you guys. So here you have your auto start stop defeat button, your lane keep assist, which I find very annoying, and then you can also turn off the top screen. So when we drove to Bergen here last week and drove home yesterday, it is dark outside, so it's really nice for your sight to get adapted to the road, to just turn off the top screen and then turn the brightness down to the lowest. You can tap like that to change the temperature, or you can do like that. So just long press, and then you can just move your finger like that, which is very practical. If you press here, you can well, you have no function there. Actually, I think if you had massaging seats, you could do something, but if you press here, you can direct the air in a different way, or you just use auto. And then you have your heat seaters here. These are the quickest working heat seaters I've ever tested in any car. AC, AC max, and then of course here you had your sync, and then you can turn off, and then auto recirculating air. So it's just very simple, very explanatory. And at first, usually I prefer hard buttons, and I still prefer hard buttons, but this is a really nice application. Everything is just very easy, very simple. It's the buttons are big and it's easy to use. The readouts are simple, and it looks very cool. So I really do like the way Audi have done, moved over their HVAC controls to touch only. So there you go, guys. That was my tour of the virtual cockpit digital gauge cluster and the MMi Touch Infotainment System. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below. And for more car content, as always, guys, please subscribe. See you guys later, and goodbye.